Kodaka Heisukawa, a new student at St. Chronica's Academy, struggles to make friends because he looks scary. He remembers the bad impression he made when he arrived late on his first day. One day, while getting his gym uniform, he sees his classmate, Yozora Mikazuki, talking to an imaginary friend named Tomo. Kodaka thinks it's odd because Yozora usually seems sad. He accidentally finds out her secret and they start talking about their problems with making friends. Kodaka suggests starting a club. The next day, Yozora drags Kodaka to her new club, the Neighbors Club, which is meant to help people make friends. Kodaka isn't sure about the club's purpose, but helps Yozora put up posters to recruit members. As they finish, another student, Sina Kashiwazaki, shows up wanting to join. Yozora shuts the door on her, calling her the perfect girl, but Sina forces her way in, saying she wants real friends. Yozora challenges Sina's popularity with the boys, but Sina explains that the boys just worship her, and she wants genuine friends. As Yozora and Sina argue all afternoon, Kodaka keeps track of the club's progress. Yozora decides that the first activity for the Neighbors Club will be to play an action role-playing game where they hunt monsters, hoping it will help them become friends. She noticed a group of friends playing a similar game together, and thought it was a good way to bond. At the next meeting, all three members bring their own copies of the game. Sina shows off her high rank, which makes Yozora mad when she sees how much time Sina has spent playing. Things don't go well in the game because Yozora and Sina keep attacking each other instead of working together. They constantly get in each other's way, causing all three to fail the mission. The next day, Sina brings a TV and game console to the clubroom to play a different game, a Gal game, which she says is better than the monster hunting one. As Sina plays, both she and Yozora pick the most negative responses for Akari, a pink-haired character, leaving Kodaka confused. As the game progresses, Sina's negative choices mess up her progress with Yukiko, a blonde character, leading to a sad ending for her. However, the next day, Sina has a change of heart about Akari after finishing all the game's paths. She hands the game to Kodaka and insists that he play and learn from the girls. Sina is caught playing an adult game but insists it's not inappropriate. While she tries to praise the game's story, Yozora asks her to read the dialogue out loud to prove otherwise. Sina reads a few lines, but quickly panics, gets embarrassed, and runs out of the clubroom crying. Later that night, Kodaka's little sister, Kobato, feels jealous that Kodaka is spending more time with the Neighbors Club than with her. The next day, while Kodaka watches Sina play another game, she meets a green-haired character named Natsum, who is wearing a swimsuit. Sina asks Kodaka to teach her how to swim since she never learned before. Kodaka agrees, and they go to a water park for swimming lessons. While they eat lunch, Kodaka finds it odd that Sina actually likes her nickname Meat. Things take a turn when Sina insults some guys who are flirting with her, and Kodaka has to step in to help her. Although Sina thanks him for saving her, Kodaka blames her for starting the fight. On their way home, Sina reflects on how this is the first time a guy has stood up to her. This incident also reminds Kodaka of a childhood friend who taught him about friendship, something that seems familiar to Yozora. Kodaka meets Maria Takeyama, a 10-year-old teacher who was tricked by Yozora into becoming the club's faculty advisor. Maria tries to take back her room and refuse the advisor role, but Yozora tricks her again by saying only adults can handle the job. Maria falls for it and agrees, so Yozora welcomes her as a full member of the club. Later, Kodaka tells Yozora and Sina that he feels like someone is stalking him. They try to help, but instead, they just make things worse for Kodaka's reputation. Eventually, Kodaka catches the stalker, a feminine-looking boy named Yukimura Kusunoki, who looks up to Kodaka as a role model. Yukimura explains that people often mistake him for a girl. Yozora allows Yukimura to join the club so he can learn from Kodaka and become more masculine. Yukimura agrees and starts serving Kodaka. The next day, Kodaka rescues a scientist named Rika Shiguma after she faints in a chemistry lab. She later tracks Kodaka down and tries to repay him in a suggestive way. Rika then joins the Neighbors Club, where it's revealed that she is very interested in inappropriate magazines, especially ones involving robots, which annoys Yozora. Noticing that Maria eats nothing but chips, Kodaka decides to start making healthy lunches for her. This makes his little sister, Kobato, jealous because she thinks Kodaka is giving Maria more attention than her. When Kodaka gives Maria lunch, he finds out that Yozora rewards Maria with chips whenever she does something for her. After enjoying Kodaka's lunch, Maria starts calling him her big brother. Later, Sina finishes another dating sim and wishes she could be inside a game. Rika brings out a virtual reality console and gets everyone to try a beta version of a role-playing game. As they choose their character classes, they have mixed feelings about their costumes and abilities. Things go smoothly at first as they gain skills and level up. But during the boss stage, Maria falls asleep and goes offline. Yozora tricks Sina, causing her to lose, and Sina gets revenge by tickling Yozora. After the game ends in defeat, Kodaka is surprised to discover that Kobato had been playing as Maria's character. She had come to the clubroom because she was feeling distant from her brother. Kobato and Maria immediately start arguing, and Yozora decides to let Kobato join the club. Later that night, Kobato sneaks into Kodaka's bed, insisting that she's his only sister. Kodaka wakes up with Kobato in his bed after having a dream about his childhood friend, who he never got to say goodbye to before moving away. At the neighbors' club, the members talk about their progress in making friends so far. Kodaka and Sina think their reputations have actually gotten worse since joining the club. As they discuss the things they've done since joining, Sina asks if anyone has ever been to a karaoke box. Kodaka has, but Yozora shares that she's visited many karaoke spots all over the city, which makes the others curious about trying it out. At first, Sina refuses, saying karaoke is a silly activity, but when Yozora starts making plans with the others, Sina reluctantly agrees to join. At the karaoke box lobby, Yozora argues with the staff about the pricing, feeling like they're being ripped off. After some negotiation, Yozora and Sina decide to rent separate rooms, while Kodaka and the rest share one room. After karaoke, Kodaka and the others are exhausted from singing and find Sina and Yozora already waiting in the lobby. It turns out that they found a way to compete with each other using the karaoke scoring mode. As they walk home, Sina tells Kodaka that her father wants to meet him, which makes Yozora jealous. As summer begins, Kodaka asks Yukimura to handle giving Maria her lunches. However, Yukimura misunderstands what healthy food means and ends up giving Maria too many dietary supplements. Kodaka notices that the club members aren't showing up regularly during summer, so he suggests they find a better way to stay in touch. When message boards and social media are quickly rejected, Rika suggests using their cell phones. Rika and Yukimura exchange contact info using infrared wireless, while Yozora and Kodaka manually type in the numbers since they barely know how to use their phones. When Kodaka asks Sina for her contact information, Sina admits she doesn't have a phone and doesn't think she needs one. Yozora teases Sina by making a phone call in front of her and cracking meat jokes, which makes Sina mad. Later, in the middle of the night, Sina calls Kodaka asking for the make and model of his cell phone. The next day, after reading several inappropriate text messages from Rika, Sina shows up in the afternoon with a new cell phone that's the same model as Kodaka's. Yozora floods Sina's phone with messages and gets jealous when Sina goes to Kodaka for help. With the air conditioner broken at Kodaka's house, Kobato is inspired by an episode of her favorite vampire anime and wears weather-appropriate clothes. She goes with Kodaka to the club room, where she ends up fighting with Maria after Maria calls Kodaka Big Brother again. Angry, Kobato bites Maria. Yozora, jokingly saying Kobato is possessed by a vampire, tells her to run naked in the sun to cure herself. Kobato does so, only to get in trouble for it. Afterward, Sina showers Kobato with attention, trying to befriend her. Later, after losing in another gal game where a shark eats the main character, Mizuki, Sina says she wants to go to the pool. She accidentally mentions that she once went to the pool alone with Kodaka. To cover it up, Kodaka quickly invites the whole club to go to the pool. When they arrive, they find the pool crowded because of a half-price offer. The large crowd overwhelms Yozora and Rika, and they decide to leave early. Kodaka chases after them but only sees them leaving on the shuttle bus. He turns back to the rest of the club, and they all decide to head home as well. Yozora sends a message to everyone, asking them to wear swimsuits for the club activities that day. When the members arrive, they find Yozora wearing a swimsuit along with a horse mask. After some fun with the mask, Yozora explains that she wanted to wear her swimsuit but avoid crowds. Sina suggests using her private beach house to solve the crowd problem, and the club agrees, calling it a training camp. The next day, Sina calls Kodaka and invites him and Kobato to her house to meet her father, Pegasus Kashiwazaki, and the family butler, Stellar Redfield. Kodaka and Kobato arrive just in time for dinner. During the meal, Pegasus speaks poorly about Kodaka's father, Heiharu Hisakawa, but Kodaka tries to defend him. Since the last bus home has already left, Pegasus offers them rooms for the night. While Sina takes Kobato for a bath, Pegasus offers Kodaka a drink. Pegasus starts talking about how he used to drink with Heiharu, and ends up getting drunk, passing out on Kodaka's bed. Kodaka goes to find help but runs into a naked Kobato being chased by a naked Sina. When Sina sees Kodaka, she panics and runs out of the house. The next day, Kodaka pretends he was too drunk to remember what happened the night before. The neighbors' club heads to Sina's beach house and immediately hits the beach. After a failed attempt to make a sandcastle, they all put on sunscreen. Kodaka helps Kobato with her sunscreen, and soon Maria and Yukimura ask for help too. Rika's wild imagination, thinking of Yukimura putting sunscreen on Kodaka, makes her faint. Sina, wanting help from Yozora, instead gets pinned to the ground while Yozora rubs sunscreen on her with her foot. After Yozora keeps making rude comments, Sina pushes her off, accidentally exposing herself, and runs away in embarrassment. Later, as the sun sets, Kodaka finds Sina on the porch and comforts her, lying by saying he didn't see her naked. The next day, after playing on the beach, Kodaka makes dinner with ingredients from a local market. During dinner, Yozora talks about her sad experiences in home economics class. The group then realizes they haven't done much training during their trip, so they decide to end it by telling scary stories. However, the stories turn out to be more funny than scary except Yozora's tale about a haunted school, which frightens everyone. That night, Kodaka gets multiple calls from the girls, including Yozora, to escort them to the bathroom because they're too scared. Yozora admits that she can only tell a scary story if it scares her too. Yozora brings up the upcoming summer festival, but decides not to go because of the crowds. Rika also says no, mentioning her past bad experience with the summer festival. When Sina mentions takoyaki, the whole club decides to go, mainly because Kodaka really likes it. On the way to the festival, Kodaka and Kobato change into yukatas at Sina's request. Yozora refuses to change into a yukata, which disappoints Kodaka. After they change, Sina says Kobato looks cute but also thinks Kodaka's hair ruins his look and suggests he dye it. Kodaka explains he can't dye his hair because it's a gift from his late mother, which impresses Sina. After enjoying the food, Yozora and Sina compete at the game stalls, while the others enjoy the other attractions. Later, they all gather to set off fireworks. After the last one, Yozora's hair catches on fire, and Kodaka has to throw a bucket of water on her to put it out. Soaked and embarrassed, Yozora leaves and stays away from the club for the last week of summer vacation. On the first day back at school, Yozora arrives with her hair cut short. The new look makes Kodaka finally recognize her as his childhood friend, Sora. Yozora remembers how she recognized Kodaka as her childhood friend, nicknamed Taka, the moment he transferred to the school. She was disappointed when he didn't recognize her. She was talking to her imaginary friend Tomo about the problem when Kodaka walked in on her after his first day. It was during their conversation about clubs that Yozora came up with the idea to start a club just for Kodaka and herself, which eventually became the Neighbors Club. Back in the present, Yozora pulls Kodaka into the stairwell and reveals that she was his childhood friend all along. Kodaka is surprised because he always thought his childhood friend was a boy. Yozora blames Kodaka for disappearing on the day she wanted to tell him something important. She wanted to tell him that she was a girl, but she was too embarrassed to show him. That same day, Kodaka wanted to tell her that he was moving. Yozora asks him to keep their childhood friendship a secret from the rest of the club, and to just call her by her real name. In the clubroom, Rika and Yukimura wonder who is standing next to Kodaka, until Sina realizes it's Yozora. Shocked by Yozora's new look, Rika convinces her to dress in a boy's school uniform. Just then, Maria and Kobato arrive. Kodaka wonders what will happen next in the Neighbors Club now that Yozora's secret is out. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.